All right, let's get into this. You usually hear the term metabolic restoration in a medical context, right? It's all about getting a body back in balance after something's gone seriously wrong. Well, today, we're taking that exact same idea, that same diagnostic lens, and we're applying it to the climate crisis. We're going to try and look past just the symptoms to really understand the planet's underlying systems.
I think for most of us, when we think about the climate crisis, we see it as a physical problem. It's about physics, it's about chemistry, too much CO2 in the air, temperatures going up, ice caps melting. It's a numbers game.
But what if that's like a doctor only treating one of a patient's two fevers? The whole idea behind this analysis is that if we only focus on the physical planet, we're missing a second crisis that's just as big and just as dangerous.
So think of it like this. The planet has two fevers at the same time. The first one is physical, a material fever in the Earth's heat and water cycles. But the second one, that's a social fever. It's a breakdown in our ability as a society to process what's true and then actually do something about it. And the worst part, these two fevers are making each other worse. Okay, so let's start with that first fever, the physical one. If we really want to understand the climate crisis, we have to understand the planet's metabolism. And right at the heart of it, there's this incredibly powerful engine that runs on heat and water. And this is where things get really interesting. We all learned about the water cycle in school, rain and clouds. But it's so much more than that. It's really the planet's air conditioner, using evaporation to cool things down, and it's our circulatory system, moving all that heat energy around the entire globe. And this just lays it out perfectly. The sun's energy hits the ocean, water evaporates, and it literally takes that heat with it, storing it. Then that water vapor travels thousands of miles, and when it finally condenses into clouds and rain, boom, it releases all that stored heat, which is what powers our weather. It's a massive planet-scale heat pump. It's genius. So here's the kicker. When we warm the planet, we are supercharging this engine. For every single degree Celsius of warming, the atmosphere can hold about 7% more moisture. Now that might not sound like a lot, but it is. It's like taking regular fuel and swapping it for high-octane racing fuel in every single storm system on Earth.
And the symptoms are exactly what you'd expect from an engine running way too hot. We're seeing way more intense, crazy rainfall causing floods, but at the same time, deeper and longer droughts in other places because the patterns are all out of whack. Major systems like the Atlantic Ocean currents are slowing down, and those scary feedback loops in the Arctic, they're speeding up. Okay, so that's the physical fever, but that brings us to the second and maybe even more confusing crisis. If the science is this clear, why has it been so hard to get meaningful action? Now we have to look at that social fever and how our stream of information has become just as polluted as our atmosphere. This brings up a really weird question, doesn't it? It's not just that people are misinformed. For some, it seems like denying climate science or fighting against climate action is a source of actual enjoyment. Why would that be? To get our heads around this, we have to touch on this psychoanalytic idea called jouissance. Now, this isn't just about simple fun or happiness. It's that deeper, sometimes kind of perverse kick you get from something. It's a satisfaction that can push you to believe or do things that are actually destructive, just because, on some weird level, it feels good. I mean, take the whole phenomenon of rolling coal, where people soup up their diesel trucks just to blast black smoke all over cyclists or electric cars. As one analyst put it, the whole point is that it's bad for the environment. The destructive act is the joy. That's a gut punch of an example of this perverse enjoyment in action. And look, this idea of enjoyment isn't just a one-sided thing. The source material points to two different kinds. On one hand, yeah, you've got the thrill of destruction and defiance, which can get all tied up in someone's identity. But on the other hand, you can also find enjoyment in saving nature, that feeling of moral purpose, of being part of a community. Of course, that can also tip over into self-righteousness sometimes too. And this whole emotional landscape, well, it has been expertly weaponized. A huge tactic was just to spread doubt. But get this, the whole idea of your personal carbon footprint, that was popularized by a PR firm working for British Petroleum back in 2004. It was a genius, if cynical move, to shift all the focus and the guilt from massive corporations onto us as individuals. You combine that with mockery and social media algorithms that just push outrage, and you get a seriously toxic information environment. So that's where we are. We've got two fevers, a sick planetary system and a sick information system. And that means any real treatment, any real solution, has to be a dual strategy. We have to heal both the planet itself and our ability to make sense of the problem together.
And this right here is the most crucial point of the whole thing. The physical and the social are locked together in a feedback loop. Worsening climate disasters can cause more social panic and denial, which in turn prevents us from actually doing the physical things we need to do. You just can't fix one without fixing the other.
Now, restoring the material system. This is stuff we're pretty familiar with. It means deep, rapid cuts to emissions, of course. It means pulling existing CO2 out of the air. It means restoring natural systems like forests and wetlands, and adapting our world to the changes that are already happening. But to make any of that possible, we have to restore our information system. And here, a proactive approach is way better than a reactive one. So instead of just playing whack-a-mole debunking myths after they're already out there, we can use something called inoculation. Basically, you vaccinate people ahead of time by teaching them the manipulation techniques themselves so they can spot them in the wild. It's like a vaccine for fake news.
So this whole mediatic restoration has a full toolkit. It's using things like educational games to teach people about misinformation. It's crafting new stories that are about hope and health, not just doom and gloom. It means working with trusted people from all different kinds of communities. And maybe most important of all, it means rebuilding dialogue just to restore some basic social trust. And all of this leaves us with a really big, challenging final thought. The physical crisis and the social crisis are so deeply tangled up that you have to ask the question, to truly heal the complex, interconnected metabolism of our planet, do we first need to fix the breakdowns in our own social metabolism, the very way we think, the way we talk to each other, and the way we decide to act together?